Steve, how much do you think the phone has hurt the racing industry?
See, I'm telling you what, Scott, if I promoted a racetrack, the phone would be the best tool I had.
Right.
Okay? I'm not going to be able to take the phone from you. Okay?
Right.
Your phone, so how do I incorporate the phone into what we're doing? Can you download a program? Can you download rosters? I love My Race Pass. My Race Pass. If I ran a racetrack, the first thing I would do is My Race Pass, and I would be running a contest with the gaming every night. They do the fantasy racing.
Right.
You win fantasy racing, you get 2 tickets to next week's races.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've got to embrace the phone. And I go to most tracks, and so the problem is, and I think that's part of the adapting to our society. Our society has moved to a phone society. Okay.
Yep.
We can't change that. So how do we embrace that?
Right.
Do we get on Facebook Live from the pit area and say, hey, jump on our Facebook Live on your phone and see an interview with this driver, see an interview with that driver? Do you tie that in? And I think there's got to be ways that you can tie that in, but I don't see any. I see very few tracks doing it.
Right.
And the bottom line is the phone is our connection to everything. So you walk into the racetrack, and does the track have an app? Do we have scoring? Like I said, the My Race Pass fantasy racing, is that on there? Are we embracing it? Hey, fantasy racing. Everyone does fantasy football. Everyone does fantasy this, fantasy that. Why are we not doing fantasy racing? And hey, an update on fantasy racing. So and so's leading, and so and so's second. You need to play it. And I just think there's a lot of ways, and that's promoting in 2022. And I think a lot of our people running the sport are not promoting in 2022.
I'm like you, Steve. I think that you need to embrace the phone and use it as a mechanism to bring people to the racetrack. Do whatever you have to do to create interest in your racetrack, to draw people into the racetrack. I think that's the future. And until promoters start utilizing the phone as a mechanism to bring people to the racetrack, they're going to be losing.
Because that's a society.
Yeah.
This goes back. I had an old preacher friend that was up there preaching one night, Scott, and he said, I can't talk to my kids. They're always on the phone. I can't talk to my kids. All they want to do is text them. And he just kind of drops the mic and says, text the kid. We're not going to remove the phone from our society, and we're not going to remove the phones for our kids. Turn it into your advantage.
Yeah.
Get savvy. My daughters and I FaceTime. My one daughter's in India now, and we FaceTime each other. The phone is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Because I get to FaceTime with my daughter in India. Mm-hmm. And, it's like, how do we embrace this technology? How do we do this? How do we incorporate this into our racing programs? And I just think there's a ton of ways out there. I just think there's a lot of things that can be done, and I see virtually nobody doing it. And I worry about that, because to me, this is a great tool. The other thing of it is, okay, go on here and we're having interviews on Facebook. Hey, you're sitting here in the grandstands. Do us a favor, share this.
Right. You
share it to your 178 fans, your friends, or your 562 friends.
Right.
Most of them are not at the racetrack, and they're like, oh, man, Jim's at the racetrack. He's having a good time. Traylor's at the racetrack.
Right.
Man, this is cool. They got gaming there. They got live fantasy racing. They've got this. We might have to come out and do it. They're done at 10:30 on a Friday night. Oh, we need to go check this out.
Yeah.
We have a whole lot of people in this sport that are still promoting in the 1970s and 80s. And the problem of it is the fan of the 1970s and 80s are no longer with us.
Right.
Some of us old dogs are still around.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. We're old dogs, and they're not replacing them with new fans by new ways of operating.
I think that's the biggest challenge that we have in our industry is creating enthusiasm through young people to get those young people back to the racetracks. Like when we were kids, I mean, the grandstands were full of young kids, right? But nowadays, it's nothing but a bunch of old gray hair guys standing up there watching the races.
Right. Back in our day, Scott, we were a car culture. Cars were the most important thing to you. Cars were the most important thing to me. 14 and a half years old, 15 years old, whatever state you were in, you had to get that license. You had to get your permit. You had to get driving. Mm-hmm. We all wanted to drive. We all wanted to see the cars go around in circles. Well, we live in a phone society now.
Yeah.
Our kids use a phone to dial up Uber to get anywhere. Mm-hmm. Well, the bottom line is we've got to make your question about the phone, the impact on it. To me, the phone might be the problem, but the phone also might be the answer.
It
And
could
that's
be.
what I think. I actually believe, I've thought about this a lot, obviously. If I was running a racetrack, I would be like, okay, let's sit down with a bunch of young people. How do you play on your phone? TikTok. Okay, drivers, get on TikTok. Start making stupid videos of you guys mounting tires and stupid videos of this, stupid videos of that. Because, there's a lot of our drivers that are younger guys.
Right.
And embrace that and tie in your driver's social media, your driver's YouTube page, your driver's Instagram into your social media, because that's where your fans are, or that's where your potential fans are. So I just think that I think it's a lot of work, and I think it's totally different than we've ever done before. But I think you would see fruits to your labor if you would embrace it and kind of go in that direction.